The following is a presentation of the Pro Wrestling Report. Informative, entertaining, and real since 1998.
Good evening and welcome to Sudden Impact Radio right here on Blog Talk Radio. My name is the man they call me, Ned. Thank you for joining us tonight on Blog Talk Radio, Sudden Impact Radio. Can I say radio one more time? Radio. If you want to join the show tonight, the number to call in if you want to get on the show and talk about TNA Impact Wrestling from tonight, area code 347-996-5278, 347-996-5278. We were going to be doing this for about 30 minutes tonight. Also got the chat-osphere, and if you want to use your tweets as part of the show, make sure you're using the hashtag Sudden Impact, and we'll try to read your stuff on the air. A very eventful Impact tonight, just wrapping up right now with Jeff Hardy and Sting climbing the turnbuckles, victorious in the hardcore, no disqualification tag team match. Sting and Jeff Hardy versus Bobby Roode, the world champion, and Bully Ray. Sting coming back out in the Joker makeup, if you will. He kind of stopped using it as he was the boss, if you will, of TNA, put in charge of all things Impact. And, you get called out to a match, you get the Stinger again. He puts the face paint on, and the Brothers in Paint taking on, a couple other really strong heels in the names of Bobby Roode and Bully Ray. Bully Ray, without Bobby Roode, would, I think, be the number one heel in the company right now. But Bobby Roode looking good every week. Kurt Angle also looking strong as well over the last couple weeks once he's returned. So let's talk about Impact. Again, if you're calling into the show tonight, I want to hear pass or fail. I'll give my opinion on the show a little bit later tonight. Also, we got brand new news over at PWRshow.com. A new member to the team, a new friend of ours has joined the program, and he's going to be joining us momentarily here. He a little bit of background. He's running his own radio show. He's talking about a little bit of hip hop. His name, for all of you that didn't get to the website, his name is Dwayne Williams. Dwayne, welcome to Sudden Impact Radio.
How's it going?
It's going good. So I know that you watched, and I know that you were tweeting throughout the show. So we were just going to get into the rundown of the show. We just saw the main event of Stinger and Jeff Hardy taking on Bully Ray and Bobby Roode. I thought it was a fantastic match. Very hot finish. I thought the crowd actually wasn't your typical Impact Zone, Universal Studios crowd. That seemed to be into it. Seemed to be, really into the wrestling portion of it and live and active. How did you see it?
I thought it was ironic, though, that Sting and Hardy teaming up, given their history, though.
Yeah, it's ironic, but again, TNA does that consistently. How many times has Ric Flair had to kiss Eric Bischoff's butt and goes, I love this man, when all you have to do is go back to WCW Nitro and goes, fire me, I'm already fired. They do that all the time.
Absolutely, but all in all, good match. Yeah, you're absolutely right. The crowd, it seemed like a different crowd than normal in the Impact Zone.
It bust in some wrestling fans? Because that wasn't a typical Universal Studios crowd.
They must have, and at different points in times, you could see some fans grabbing for the wrestlers, and they really, really seemed excited to just be that close to them.
Yeah, I think so, too. So we're going to run down Impact. First off, the show opens up with Bobby Roode coming out to the ring, and he came out with Bully Ray. He starts cutting his promo on Sting when Jeff Hardy comes down and interrupts, and I've always called him Jeff Partridge because all the different colors in his Impact-Tron or DNA-Tron or whatever it's called, his video package. But Hardy says he's taking the world title at Genesis because, remember, Jeff Hardy is the number one contender to Bobby Roode's TNA championship, and that's going to be that. Stinger comes down, and he's got his paint on, and he's Hardy's partner, and he's definitely ready. So how did you think that segment went?
Segment went good. I think they started the show off well, and that pretty much set the tone for the show, and that gave us that match to look forward to, a street fight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was a good street fight, and like I said, we talked about it. And again, because we're coming on the air just as the street fight is going off the air, we talked a little bit about it. We'll get to it again. Also, we'll be taking calls tonight. If you want to call in, the area code is 347 and the number 996-5278. We do have a call on hold. We'll be getting to him momentarily, but I thought it was a great segment as well. Really set the table, and what they've done is you've got three former, big time talents. You've got Sting, who was the WCW champ and TNA champ. You've got Jeff Hardy, who was a WWE champ and a TNA champ, and you've got Bully Ray, who is well known across the wrestling world. Basically, there to give the rub continuously to Bobby Roode, who's the TNA champ. So I thought it was a very solid, packed main event. So definitely a good way to set it up. Now we saw that Madison Rayne. I'm kind of hot and cold with her, and it can go from week to week. We saw her dressed up in referee gear, so obviously she's not wearing it because stripes are out. It's December, stripes are out. But she's going to be going out to the ring. She's one half of the TNA Women's Tag Team Champions, and she's going to be reffing a match. Now, with no Karen Jarrett, because Karen and Jeff both fired, wink, wink, somebody needs to run the Knockouts division, so she apparently is going to take over. Karen Jarrett said that she was in charge. Before she left, she put me in charge. So that led to Madison Rayne coming out, and I know we're skipping around in the show here, but I just want to talk about that segment. Again, we had a great crowd in there. They didn't change crowds during matches, or did they? But that crowd during the Madison Rayne, Tessmacher and Tara segment.
The thing about that, the crowd was all over Madison Rayne, but did you hear some of the things that the crowd was chanting?
Yeah, and I'm glad that, and maybe they've been listening, I don't know, but Tara and Miss Tessmacher came out in new ring gear today. They weren't wearing homemade T-shirts that said TNT on them. They gave them to the fans to wear.
Yeah.
That
was the stuff.
Gear looked great. It looked like real wrestling gear. So it looked great. Maybe, they're going to move on, or maybe, but I don't understand why they were chanting USA either.
Yeah, it was just, I
understand.
Weird stuff.
Yeah,
the outfits maybe?
Dress, yeah, but what does that got to do with anything? Whoever wrote that segment needs to have a conversation with human resources maybe, or somebody, because that segment just was odd. If I had a bone to pick with TNA tonight, it was definitely the Knockouts, which are usually the strong portion of the show, but,
it's normally not like that.
Yeah, exactly. They're usually pretty solid. So, but the Knockouts, as they're saying in the chat atmosphere, the Knockout segment was painful. And again, I don't ever want to say that, but it was painful. So, we're going to run down more of the show. I know that we got a caller on hold, and we're going to take them once we come back from the break. Again, if you want to call into the program, number is 347-996-5278, area code 347-996-5278. 5278, pardon me. You're listening to Sudden Impact Radio right here on Blog Talk Radio.
Tired of all the lies, rumors, and assumptions in wrestling news? So are we. Join us each week for the Pro Wrestling Report on ESPN Radio for the latest news and views on pro wrestling. Visit us at PWRshow.com to check the latest schedule.
Welcome back to Sudden Impact Radio right here on Blog Talk Radio. I'm the man they call me, Dad. And again, joining us tonight, a brand new member of the Pro Wrestling Report family. Dwayne, thank you again for joining us. And I don't know if you know the history of PWR, but I assume everybody else does as well. The show's been going on since 1998. Started with Damian Nelson. he added myself on in 99 along with Frank Cosentino and a couple others, and we've just been chugging along since. Now we got Linda Kay, we've got Dave Hero, and we just keep it chugging along and chugging along. So, again, welcome to the family. Glad to have you here. Glad to have more blood, new blood into the program. So, Damian, again, appreciate you being on the show. We're going to go right back into TNA Impact. Now, also set up from last week, you had Eric Young and ODB talking to each other about, Eric Young was sitting in the back, and he said that he was going to go ahead and be a part of the tag team wild card, if you will, but he didn't know who his partner was, so he's going to go ahead and find his partner in the back, and ODB showed up and was his partner. So Eric Young and ODB partnering up in the tag, and I thought this was a great pairing together. You've got ODB, who can obviously wrestle with the big boys, and you got Eric Young, who wants to lock up with the cook in the kitchen. So, Dwayne, I don't know how you felt about the pair in there, but fantastic.
Yeah, every time Eric Young is on there in doses, he's good. So I mean, his interaction with ODB is it's different. It kind of grew on me. The match was better than the segment to me.
It's amazing. And if it wasn't for Crimson and Matt Morgan are the tag team champions, I would think that ODB and Eric have a shot.
I think they do.
Crimson and, I don't know. That would be TNA to let them win over Morgan and Crimson. It better be shenanigans in there, because if they got a clean win over them, what's the point? Send Crimson home. Send Matt Morgan home, because he just got worked over. But, I love the match. I'm a closet ODB fan. Well, actually not a closet ODB fan. I've been a fan of hers for a long time, since Blizzard Brawl 1, when we had her on the show. She was amazing.
The crowd liked her, too.
Yeah, the crowd, again, it must have been that wrestling crowd. And, we talk about here on Sudden Impact Radio that we try not to be a spoiler zone, but I will mention this to you guys listening to the program. This TNA Impact was taped in 2 different tapings. So when I was joking about it could have been a different crowd, it technically could have been a different crowd, to be honest with you. That was in that Madison Rayne, Tessmacher, and Tara segment versus the crowd that was with everybody else, because I think they were split tapings.
Now, the Madison Rayne, you said you were hot and cold with her as a performer. Yes. Why is that?
Well, it's kind of like my feelings on Kid Cash. Now, I don't know if you've heard me mention on the program before. Kid Cash, like a man they call Meathead, needs someone to bounce off of. He's he doesn't carry the quote-unquote impact when he's talking by himself for 30 minutes. When Kid Cash had to cut that promo with Jesse Sorensen, say about a month ago, where Kid Cash did all the talking, Kid Cash was great on that promo for about 15 seconds, and then he was done. He was searching for things to say. The same thing I think is happening with Madison Rayne, where she's great as long as she has somebody play off of. When she has to keep talking and keep going, she's run out of stuff to say. Yeah.
They're trying to create another Vicky Guerrero. She's not it, though. Madison Rayne is not it.
And her timing was off, because she's talking, and then started screaming. I didn't understand it. And again, I mean, I understand it, but I just don't understand it when it comes to wrestling. So, who knows? Tony Nese and Zema Ion. Again, if you didn't see it, there was a program, and I forget the channel. I believe it was on Bravo, and correct me if I'm wrong, but there was an independent wrestling show, TV segment that was like a 1-hour documentary, where Zema Ion was on that. It was they followed a bunch of different independent wrestlers that were trying to make it into the bigs. Zema had gotten a Ring of Honor tryout with Jim Cornette. Fantastic talent. But finally, last week, we learned that Zema Ion is a heel. Never heard anything from him before. And last week, this 3-way was just thrown together. I mean, this, best of 3 situation was thrown together, and the winner is going to be in a 4-way match. Where did that come from?
Yeah.
TNA comes up with a lot of great ideas, but their timing is abysmal. No pun intended.
But these X Division matches that they're putting together are good matches. just, reminiscent of the WCW era talent. I think it's a good thing. Even though the storylines are thrown together and are not well paced, we're still getting some exciting action from some good talent.
I think so too. And I forgot to mention the opening contest tonight was Kaz and AJ Styles taking on Daniels and Bob Van Dam. Now Daniels has been amusing lately. I'm not one that buys into talents using Twitter to put over their, I guess, to cut promos on Twitter. But if you follow Christopher Daniels, which is FAC Daniels, he's actually pretty funny. And I like Daniels. We did an interview with him, I'd say 2-3 years ago. It might have been 4 years ago at the first ever live Impact tapings that were down in Orlando. The weekend of WrestleMania in Orlando, whatever year that was, 4 years ago. But
yep.
Chris Daniels and RVD as a team, I thought looked great, even though your winners in the match were Kaz and AJ Styles. And Kaz, by the way, I thought took the best bump of the night when he took the monkey flip from RVD. He went halfway across the ring. It was amazing.
Yeah. RVD is a shell of his former self, but the crowd seems to still get behind him.
Well, he's a big name, and he's a name that's there, but it seems like he's kind of living on the name right now. He can still do some of what's going on, but maybe RVD needs a break. And even though the mainstream wrestling audience thinks that he's had tons of breaks, he really hasn't. I mean, with the exception of getting injured at the beginning of his TNA run, maybe an injury or two in WWE, between ECW and WWE, he kept going on and on and on and on. I mean, the guy was wrestling, here, there, and everywhere, Japan, across the seas, Mexico. He was all over the place. So maybe Rob needs a break. Maybe needs to start doing RVD Appreciation Day signings again. I think those would be great. I don't know if you've been to any, but I've been to a few myself.
I haven't not had a chance to.
They're awesome. Rob's a good guy, so maybe he needs to just take a break. Anyways, Tony Nese beat, I digress, Tony Nese beat Zema Ion in match number 2. Of course, if you're going to set up a best-of-3 series match, you got to let the guy get his heat back. And then what they did to him last week when Zema Ion kept lifting his head up and he got no offense in after that, I thought it made him look weak. So hopefully he got some back tonight, because after last week he looked weak. Hey, we're going to take a phone call. We're going to go out to the 718 area code. Make sure you mention your name and the state that you're calling from. 718, go ahead. All right, 718, thank you for joining us.
There they go.
Yeah, he and gone, so no worries. You can call back if you want. Again, the number if you want to call in to us, area code 347-996. 5278, 347-996-5278. Hey, let's do some quick pimping, if you will. You can find me at Twitter, WCW Meathead. Also find me on Facebook at The Man They Call Meathead. But, Dwayne, where are you at on Twitter and Facebook?
Twitter and Facebook, I am at The Diamond K Show.
Okay. Same one? All right, perfect.
Yep.
Following us. Also, don't forget to follow the PWR Show at PWR Show on Twitter and Pro Wrestling Report on Facebook. Facebook.com/Pro Wrestling Report. All right, let's get back into Impact. James Storm came out to the ring to run down Kurt Angle, but Angle appearing on a video dressed like a cowboy. And again, we saw it in the Chatmosphere or the Chatosphere, and we saw it on Twitter. The last time Kurt Angle was dressed like a cowboy, he should have been singing Kumbaya. Wasn't that with Vince and Steve Austin, Stone Cold?
Hilarious. That was some of Kurt's best work back then.
Yep. And
he was injured at that time, right?
Yeah, he was, and that was a way to keep him on TV. But I thought right around that same era where Stone Cold was singing Kumbaya was pretty damn good, too, and he had Deborah sitting next to him, both of them holding their ears. That's right around the area of the what? What? Yeah, good stuff. How did you feel Kurt Angle's been coming off now? Kurt Angle doing a lot of promos outside of the ring or, in the ring, but no real match action. How do you feel Kurt Angle's coming across on TV?
I think he's coming across good. That's some of his strong points, his mic work, and obviously he needs a break from in the ring. So just like in the WWE, this is a good time to keep him on TV, but, just keep him healed up.
Yeah, I think so, too. And, again, Kurt Angle is the face that TNA wants on TV because channel flippers recognize Kurt Angle. So you got to keep Kurt Angle's face on TV, just like Sting, just like Hardy, Bully Ray, and the likes. We're going to take our final break. Again, if you want to call into the program, area code 347-996-5278. 347-996-5278. You're listening to Sudden Impact Radio right here on Blog Talk Radio. Welcome back to Sudden Impact Radio right here on Blog Talk Radio. I'm the man they call Meathead. And again, joining me tonight for the very first time, bringing them into the PWR family, if you will. Dwayne, welcome to the show again. Thank you again for joining us at Pro Wrestling Report.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Not a problem. Hey, we're going to run down the Twitter and take a look at people that posted throughout the show and just read some of the comments here. First off, again, if you want to get your tweet read on air, make sure you're using hashtag Sudden Impact. Saul Perez Jr., I don't know if you know him, Dwayne, but he is a PWR Fan of the Year, along with his wife, Shirley. Saul says, TNT, they're dynamite, TNT, and they will win the fight. I'm an AC/DC guy, so I don't mind throwing that one in there every once in a while. Also, you got Jill Mascaris saying, are they going to be called Beer and Beard? Assuming that they're talking about ODB and Eric Young, EY, and Aaron, BSC, Sting to Hardy. I'm a mark for you, Jeff. Hardy to Sting. I'm a mark for you. Right at that point, I wanted to say, I got a feeling. You know, I thought there was going to be a man love segment going on there. It's just, I love you. No, I love you. I was a little uncomfortable there, you know, feeling a little awkward. Yeah, it was kind of weird indeed. So let's take a look at the chat Osphere. Slim RJS is the way Kurt Angle drives, he might be what? Oh, vulgar. Come on. And the other thing he said was 1 week of Madison Rain makes me miss Karen Jarrett. I don't know.
I thought that too. I agree with that.
Well, maybe they can get the ODB to run it after their tag team run is over. Who knows? I love the date segment between Eric and ODB because Eric kept trying to grab her hand. That was awesome. You know, Eric, this isn't a date. It's just a meeting. I love you. I was waiting for him to say I love you. I was very entertained by that. Again, I enjoy watching EY on screen every time he tries to lock up with somebody. So, good stuff. A couple more spots on Impact that I want to run down here. We also had, like I said, when we were talking about James Storm running down Kurt Angle, and Kurt Angle was running through Storm's hometown. So there was bar segments. Again, you know, it's been done before, but Kurt Angle made it entertaining, I thought. What? This isn't a real gun. It's a prop gun. I don't know if anybody noticed this. I don't know if you noticed this, Dwayne, but it still had the red plastic cap on top.
Yeah, he did.
But I'm going to hit you with it. That was pretty funny, actually. I was kind of amused. Yeah, it was good stuff. So, you know, the main event went a little long. I thought it was a little early to start the main event, but it was hardcore, and it was a tag team hardcore, so you were going to have different segments back and forth. You know.
Then they had those breaks in there too.
Yeah, and the breaks in there too, kind of like I said in Impact Radio. We got to throw those breaks in. We got to pay the bills. Got to pimp our stuff.
Absolutely.
But Sting and Jeff Hardy winning in a street fight over Bobby Roode and Bully Ray, I thought it put all four over. Even though and Sting did the superplex of Bully Ray, I turned my head and look, and Bully Ray's beating on Sting. It was like a no-sell. I don't know how you felt about that.
Yeah, it definitely was. And, I mean, Tenay, you know, they really played up the fact that he did the spot, and then for him to, you know, recover so quickly kind of killed the whole thing.
But isn't that really 2011 pro wrestling now?
Yeah, unfortunately.
Unfortunately is right, yeah.
You know, I mean, I thought that Taz was into the AJ Styles RVD, that tag match in the beginning, but you know, midway through the show, he just whenever the knockouts come, you know, the commentating really goes south.
And you know, it's It's not like we were listening to Michael Cole do commentary.
Right.
But again, I can't believe I'm going to admit this, but I was trying to imagine what it would be like to have JR calling that match, with King, of course, but to have JR call that match and how it would sound different. Not that I don't like Mike Tenay, because I do, but I think Taz was ruining it, to be honest with you. And, that goes along with the production value, too. I think they've been increasing on areas, but there's still some work to be done.
The work, I mean, I think that the biggest problem is Taz. Tenay I could deal with Tenay with a better color guy.
Do we call for Don West to come back? Who's it going to
be? Yeah, I might take Don West over Taz.
Yeah, that's a debate, and that's a show for a conversation for another time. We got about 2 minutes left here, but yeah, I wanted to talk about that. If you didn't notice this already, Madison Rain has new music, and what's great is the music that they've been putting out lately finally has people singing. It's real songs now. If there was one thing I really could pick on WCW about, and again, I'm a WCW guy. I've always been a WCW guy. But, I mean, even in an interview I did with Jericho where he mentioned he called it Basketball Highlights number 7 or whatever. That was his first basketball highlight music that he heard on TNT one night. It's the exact same song. It's just stock music from the Turner Library. So what I like they're doing, and again, I love James Storm's song right now, where he's a beer drinking, bottle breaking, Johnny Cash pushing guy. Yeah, I love Roode's new song. And again, I took a quick listen into Madison Rain's song too. I thought it was fantastic. So keep going on that path. Getting it done and really starting to bring up the production value. But you're right when we talk about the commentary. Needs a lot of work. So, Dwayne, this is your first sudden Impact. How did it feel?
Feels great. I enjoyed it a lot.
Good.
Much better than the
Hope
Devon segment.
Well, notice I didn't bring it up.
Absolutely.
Prince Fielder Jr. 1 and Prince Fielder Jr. 2. But
oh my God.
That's just us. I'm from the Milwaukee area, so we know who Prince is. But again, thank you for joining. You're going to join us every week now, right?
Absolutely.
Perfect. All right. Well, next week, guys, we'll be doing Sudden Impact Radio again. It's 10 p.m. Central, right after the conclusion of Impact Wrestling. Also, don't forget, Be the Booker aired last week if you haven't checked out its website, and Primetime is going to be available at PWRshow.com. For Dwayne, I'm the man they call me Dave. Thank you for joining us tonight on Blog Talk Radio, Sudden Impact Radio. Good night, everybody.
Night.